everyone, and welcome back to the CCA League Season 2 double header into Week 5. I am Mizuno, joined by Falco Flyer tonight for our second match. Game 1, Clan Blitz Wahoo. We have the Boilermaker Special versus the Neo Comet Blasters. Now, Falco, these are two very experienced teams here, so we're going to be seeing a different type of match than what we saw in our first matchup of the night.
Yeah, and of course, Mizuno, you being very familiar with a lot of the players on the Boilermaker special, and the Neo Comet Blasters, like you said, kind of a team with the Comet Blasters of the same school from University of Texas, Dallas. So yeah, looking at these comps here, we see I like the Dapple choice. Dapples aren't something that we see all the time with the Tacticooler, but they can be very useful, and the blob pick too on the side of the Neo Comet Blasters. I'm enjoying this.
Comet Blasters are known to run some very fun comps, and I mean, already we see the Boilermaker special. I was just about to comment more on it, but the Comet Blasters are actually in a 2-down situation from Astrom's Dapple play here. And things are looking really good for the Boilermaker special right now as they activate the Tacticooler, and it looks like they're preparing for some push of some kind.
Yeah, they're going to be taking it through this right side. They don't have a, I say that spoke too soon, I was going to say they don't have a power plant form able to get it, so the Dapple is going to be the one who throws it in the basket and is going to be taken down. So Boilermakers, they're doing a good job following up some of these power clams, pushing from the right side, pushing from mid too. But now Neo Comet Blaster is able to break in and stop this push, but not without Boilermakers getting to 47.
Great defensive front on the side of Neo Comet Blasters. I mean, there was just a ton of pressure that the Boilermaker special exerted with the Tri-Strike, with the Killer Whale, and the Tacticooler combination. Those staggered specials can be very deadly, but the Neo Comet Blasters actually played that defensive front very effectively, and honestly, I think they kind of negated the damages done.
Yeah, Neo Comet Blaster is able to break back in there, take a lot of what the Boilermakers had as far as mid goes too. And now 2 players still going to go down, 3 going to go down. So Boilermakers, even though they let a little bit of the turf get away from them, able to break it back in. And look at this push coming from the right side. They got rid of their penalty points. They're staying in the bubble, throwing these clams in, getting down to 44. So a very good second push from Boilermakers.
Great coordination on the side of the Boilermaker special, utilizing that opportunity that Astrom on those Dapples opened up for them. However, thankfully, the Neo Comet Blasters were finally able to drive out those pesky Boilermakers from their spawn and from the basket. We see the blob here desperately fighting for some paint back, throwing down the wall, but unfortunately going down to the sloshing. No, the splat bomb actually from Toasty. So the junior actually preventing the paint control from heading back into the Comet Blasters' favor.
Yeah, and if Boilermaker special, if they keep this up, they're going to be sitting pretty. As long as they are able to control mid and just squash out for these power clams, it seems like Neo Comet Blasters, they're not being as sneaky as Boilermaker special has been forming these power clams, especially without having not having Dapples. I feel like the Dapples are definitely assisting the Boilermaker special on that side. So they're going to have a different plan if they want to get these wins, but able to sneak around and get a splat. That way, get a little bit of a flank could come in handy as they're now trying to push this power clan towards mid and towards the basket.
Right, the Neo Comet Blasters actually making some crucial plays, calling out just the junior, then the Dapples, and punishing the slosher when they got too aggressive. So while they are 1 down right now, they're actually in a better position than they were just about a minute ago or so. Now with a clam in their hand, they're looking to keep this mid control, and they're able to get a crucial 3 picks down. 3 are down in some staggered spawns here, and it looks like this is their moment to strike.
Yeah, they have to take advantage of this opportunity. They're going to be throwing the Booyah Bomb towards the basket, able to get that power claim in. 1 in. Can they get the second one into? No, the bubbles popped, but the power claim not going to go in. We still have the Gal who's alive and the blob up top. I don't know if they'll get it. It looks like the Gal able to get that one in. The blob picks up the back power claim, throws it away, but they are still alive. This ball player is hanging in there, and they stayed alive much longer than we thought they would.
Right. I mean, they were just completely surrounded in yellow ink. I don't know how they were able to stay alive in that moment. But it was such a great push on the side of Neo Comet Blasters. But the lead that the Boilermaker Special had from their previous pushes is just too great. Now with only 30 seconds on the clock, Tactical Cooler activated, the Boilermaker Special is sitting in a very nice spot right now.
Yeah, and you give a little bit of room for the Boilermaker Special, they are going to take advantage of that opportunity, especially Astrum with the dualies, able to just fit in any corner of the map to throw a power claim in. So Boilermaker Special need to just hold it up for about 5 more seconds. There is a power claim on the side of the Neo Comet Blasters, so Boilermaker Special just play some heavy defense and they should be good, or Boilermaker Special could have a counter push of their own and just score and end the game right there.
Ah, you think that would be a really greedy play that the Boilermaker Special just did there, right? They overextended and trying to push the basket and completely neglecting their own. It's very dangerous, but in that moment, they were able, again, I think they were led there by, I think it was Toasty and Astrum just propelling forward onto the Neo Comet Blasters plat area and taking advantage of a one down, two down situation where they feel absolutely comfortable knowing that they could just take the game away from the Neo Comet Blasters.
Yeah, when you're able to just be in a position where that's going to be possible, that's something you want to do. If you're Neo Comet Blasters, it's hard because you have to play offense, but watch out and just watch for a counter push at the same time. That just goes to show how important it is to have the lead as you approach overtime, because you have more flexibility on what type of strategy you want to play. You could just strictly play defense, you could play offense too, you could have a few players do both, but you get one player there who's going to sneak by the basket, you jump in the power clam before Neo Comet Blasters can see you. You're going to seal that victory pretty quickly as overtime starts.
Right, exactly. Now, we're heading into our Game 2 matchup, Rainmaker Mincemeat. While the teams are being sorted out here, I have to take a moment to talk a little bit about these two teams. Falco, you've mentioned, I know a couple of these players, and oh boy, do I know them. The Neo Comet Blasters are essentially the JV team for the University of Texas, Dallas kind of esports community there. So Texas, Dallas being one of the few schools that we have in the league actually sending 2 teams to the league. I mean, there's just so many players in this community that they're able to send 2 teams with subs at hand. I think that is incredibly interesting.
Yeah, I mean, having a roster like that is really going to come in handy, especially later in the season when things kind of get maybe a little busy during the school season. With midterms kind of ending too. You're more familiar with their schedule than I am, being not as far removed from college. But yeah, just having that flexibility is going to make things a lot better.
Right. I mean, it's so difficult as a college team to find time out of your crazy day to settle down and play a game. But of course, you have to settle down and play the game with 3 other people, and scheduling that is very difficult. So again, it's fantastic to see that the Texas Dallas community is so big and just has such a strong presence. It's truly fantastic to see. Now, that's on the southwestern side of the United States. Up here in the Midwest, we have the Boilermaker Special. Now, for folks who don't know, this is actually a pickup of multiple players in the competitive community. Astrum is actually my teammate from Sub Power Up of ITAP fame. And then we have 2 players from the Rolling Squids, which is actually a very well-known LSL band turned into low ink alpha contending team. So when you have that sort of experience in the mix, not to mention Barry, who is a well-known plus player running their E-Leader, you have a very strong pickup with very experienced players just here to come wreck shop in the league.
Yeah, and it's great too when some of these players have a team of their own that's even not affiliated with the school, but when they're able to kind of come together and form a team like this, it's going it's just going to make you a better player too. Having all the comp experience that you possibly can. yeah, it's going to suit you well. And like to your credit, talking about how Yum and Toasty coming from the Rolling Squids, which has seemed to just really take off recently in Splatoon 3. This Boilermaker special team sitting very pretty.
You see Barry now running with the regular charger here. I think it's scoped. I couldn't quite see it. And actually not only a couple of changes. I think Noob swapped out of the Gal in favor of the Blaster, which Falco, I'm sure you must be thrilled to see that.
Yeah, I am. I do like the pick, especially on Rainmaker. Like it's probably one of my favorite modes to play that weapon. So we'll see how well they can utilize it. Going to have to rely on Astrom's paint from the Dapples, it seems like, and maybe some from the Blob as well. But with that, 2 players are now going to go down for the Neo Comet Blasters. Boilermaker Special going to be picking it up, taking it up this right side. A few players there, including the Blaster, trying to take them down, but no. Rainmaker's still kind of on top mid, trying to get some picks. 2 players are down for Neo Comet Blasters once again, as Boilermaker Special needing to push towards this podium, and it looks like they're finally doing that.
They have a great situation with Yum on that bucket, putting pressure on that that snipe area that the Charger usually likes to sit. Now, with the checkpoint gone for the Boilermaker Special, they're actually sitting in a very good spot now. And with the Blaster down, there is a lot more room to work with. You see, it looks like the Junior here is trying to navigate above and trying to get this pick on the Blob, but unable to do so at the moment, trying to make more room. Finally able to get that pick, but falling to the Blaster at hand. But the Rainmaker Falco is already up to 24 points.
Yeah, a fantastic push by the Boilermaker Special, utilizing their teammates to kind of pave the way, push up a little bit. I love the I love the movement. Look at that, 3 players going to be going down on the Boilermaker Special from the Blaster of from the Neo Comet Blasters. So Noob doing a very good job, definitely not a noob with this weapon, as they're able to try and prevent and paint up a little bit more. But yeah, you get all the way to 1 when you're, as a Boilermaker Special player, you want to get that knockout, but you know you have a comfortable lead. You don't want to give up that first checkpoint too easily because things can spiral out of control, so they need to not let Neo Comet Blasters do that.
Totally agree. I mean, the Comet Blasters basically have to take this Rainmaker, as DRF likes to say, coast to coast. They have to take it from mid all the way back over to completely knock it out. And that mentality that you have to have and that willpower you need to muster up for this to happen is going to be a lot for the Comet Blasters to take. And I mean, the Comet Blasters actually do have a history of very scary comebacks. Back, I believe, is in week 3, they were able to come back all the way from 3 Falco and Hammerhead Rainmaker. So I wouldn't count the Comet Blasters out of this game just yet.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in a mode like Rainmaker where things can really snowball when you get a wipe, getting from one checkpoint to another. So Neo Comet Blasters, they need to control mid before they get some of these before they can try and push the objective. It's hard when you have a strong charger like you do on the Boilermaker Special, who can watch your every move, especially on this stage with kind of how like flat it is, not a lot of vertical height that you have to work with. So again, another stage that's going to kind of favor backline. Boilermaker Special once again picking up the Rainmaker, but this time opting to take it over through the left side. Going to be picking up some juice from the Tactic Cooler as well to kind of support. But Boilermaker Special, they are keeping this pressure up.
The pressure, exactly right, Falco. The pressure that they're able to continuously exert throughout the entire match is so crucial. I mean, the further back that they're able to push the Comet Blasters, the easier it is going to be for them to defend when they're able to take the Rainmaker back. Now, the Rainmaker is actually in a very precarious spot for the Comet Blasters, sitting over those grates, and you see Barry here on the other side of those grates. Their sight line is just so great here, eyelining this blob and preventing them from going any further. And again, they're in a very precarious spot right now, Falco, as they activate this vacuum.
Yeah, and I mean, Boilermaker Special, they need to keep that Rainmaker there. It looks like it is going to go away now. Or no, it's still set where it is. Like you said, it's such a tricky spot since it's on the grate. So Boilermaker Special, they need to just keep up the pressure. Maybe if they could have avoided popping the Rainmaker, it would have gone a little differently. And you could kind of keep all the paint at mid. So this will give Neo Comet Blasters an opportunity as the Rainmakers reset, but Boilermaker Special, they have to control mid. They don't want to give anything up quite yet, and it looks like they're in a great position to keep this pressure up.
Agreed, with Barry in this prime position to keep making those picks. I mean, Falco, the pressure's just too great as the Comet Blasters finally wipe out, and with the Rainmaker just sitting right next to Barry, I mean, wow, the Boilermaker Special, that was just completely dominant, and the Comet Blasters just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, when you make a push like that, get all the way to 1, you can be a little more experimental with your playstyle. You can do things that maybe you wouldn't think would really work on a traditional push or a traditional defensive stop. So they didn't even let Neo Comet Blasters pick up the Rainmaker, I don't think once, or get it on Boilermaker's side at least. So a very, very good defensive stop by the Boilermaker Special. I like the Vac just sitting at the Rainmaker to just wait and just be like, hey, I'm here. I'm just going to be sucking up ink and try and come at me. Try and do it.
Now, folks, I am so sorry. It looks like we had a bit of a lobby issue here. We're going to take a quick break to get back into this lobby and get the players settled back in. So don't go anywhere. The match is 2-0 right now. We're going to get back into this lobby. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the CCA League Season 2 double header. We just had to take a quick moment to reset the lobby there. Apologies, folks. I am back with Falco Flyer as we headed to this Game 3 matchup between the Boilermaker Special and the Neo Comet Blasters.
Yeah, Boilermaker Special getting the first 2 wins. Very dominant win there on Game 2. Dominant as well in Game 1. So Neo Comet Blasters gonna need to be trying to have something up their sleeve as we approach Splat Zones on Mahi Mahi Resort. This is a map you definitely do not want to have a charger on the enemy team be too comfortable. So things could spiral out of control very quickly, or we could see a lot of back and forth like we saw in our previous set.
Right. I mean, the key thing that the Comet Blasters are going to do here, like you said, they're going to have to keep a watch on Barry on the side of the Boilermaker special and making sure that Barry on that charger doesn't stay too comfortable. I mean, that I think that'll probably be their key way into staying in this match.
And taking a look at these weapons, we see the sploosh now coming out from the Neo Comet blasters. And we see the wiper again from Astrum. So the sploosh with the stamp is going to be one of the weapons that Boilermaker Special are going to have to watch out for, but or not. They already have a 3-player advantage with just the blob alive on the right side, as these members are now pushing up and getting some good splats.
Right, that delay wipe that the Boilermaker Special was able to force the Neo Comet Blasters on here. I mean, this is not the way that you want to be starting out this game, Falco. And with the Comet Blasters on the back foot here, another member going down, 50 points already to the favor of the Boilermaker Special. I mean, how in the heck are you supposed to come back from this?
Yeah, especially looking where the wiper is too, just like ledge guarding like a blaster player, able to paint up. It actually does paint pretty well when you're in that type of position. That's something I didn't even notice. But it looks like, oh, Spade was trying to find an opportunity to break in. Man, I'm just impressed with this Boilermaker team in some of these kills, especially with that Ultra Stamp.
Yeah, that Ultra Stamp throw, man, you think that Stamp would suck, but no, Astrum making use of it as much as they can. Oh, we do see the zone briefly freezing for a moment, and you think that the Neo Comet Blasters was able to finally secure it. But alas, the Boilermaker Special in a clean 100-0 sweep are able to knock out the Comet Blasters in a matter of, what was that, 45 seconds or so?
Yeah, definitely the quickest set or quickest game of the night for both of the sets in our doubleheader. So we said it could spiral out of control, and it certainly did, with the Boilermaker Special being on top. And like you said, there was that brief moment where Neo Comet Blasters contested the zone. They were almost able to get that cap, but when you don't have the player advantage, it's going to be so tricky. And you got to do everything you possibly can to paint that zone. So Boilermaker Special able to hold on, and now they are leading 3-0.
Leading 3-0, the momentum is just entirely in the Boilermaker Special's favor as they are barreling through these matches at like Mach 20 right now. It's almost like a speed run at this point. But the Neo Comet Blasters, they have all the right pieces. They're able to put on a lot of pressure still. It's not like they're just floundering around. They're just making a couple of just little mistakes that the Boilermaker Special is just able to pinpoint and take advantage of. I think this game isn't entirely lost just yet.
Yeah, it certainly isn't lost, because we could see something similar to the first map we had. First match was Clan Blitz on Wahoo World, where Neo Comet Blasters, they had an opportunity and almost won that game. It went into overtime before the Boilermaker Special were able to jump in that power clam and score. So again, nothing really is over until it's actually over. And with a slower match, slower mode like tower control, that could be Neo Comet Blasters' opportunity to really regroup, protect the checkpoints, and just kind of have different elements up their sleeve to prevent how dominant this Boilermaker Special team has been.
Right, and I think the crucial key here for kind of like being patient with that pacing and that objective control, I'm hoping Noob would actually switch back over to that blaster for this match. I think the positioning that they'll be able to utilize with that blaster here will be crucial for getting those points that they need.
That's right. And I mean, we're talking about Noob. Noob is a top 5 in KA, top 3 in splats without assists. So if you're topping of CCA like that, you've definitely got things up your sleeve that you can utilize too. So it's going to have to come in handy right here.
Right, and Noob is back on that blaster indeed, right as I called it. I'm telling you, I think this will be the one that they will need. I'm really liking the Blasters comp here. Overall, the Neo Comet Blasters running with that sloshing junior combination with the blaster. I think they can make really good use of this on the tower control. Meanwhile, on the side of the Boilermaker Special, you see Barry back onto that comfortable E leader, Astrom on those dapples, and Toasty and Yume on their comfort picks. I mean, this is just going to be a battle of wills at this point, Falco.
Yeah, and it just goes to show because Boilermaker Special, they haven't really been able to take the tower yet. Like, they've been able to claim some of the objective early on in the previous 3 games. And with that, Noob going to be getting a nice pick. So Neo Comet Blaster's first one's on the tower, just shy of 1 minute into the start of this match. And they're going to quickly get to this checkpoint in a 2v2 situation. Blaster is now protecting the tower, but they're going to have to watch out for this triple ink strike. Luckily, the Gal, I believe the Gal is able to just hop off the tower momentarily, and so they are going to get past that first checkpoint.
The Comet Blasters are just activated right now. They were able to take advantage of a 2-down situation that they put the Boilermaker Special in, and that was the perfect shift in momentum that they needed, and they were able to clear that first checkpoint. And to start off this match with a minute and a half off the clock and the checkpoint gone, I think this is a really good spot for the Comet Blasters right now.
Yeah, because now they can kind of play the neutral game of just protecting mid, not having to do anything fancy like they may have had to do in games past. They have the lead, they are in a more comfortable situation, although be it right now, they do get wiped. So things quickly could change as Boilermaker Special getting to this first checkpoint. It looks like they will quickly get past it as well, and they have other players in a more aggressive position pushed up, unlike Neo Comet Blasters had before. So Neo Comet Blaster players, they are just now going down 1 by 1 once again as this tower approaches the second checkpoint and gets past it as well.
And man, and this is just a domino effect, Falco. Right as you said, the Comet Blasters are completely staggered in their respawns right now, and that is not what they needed. They need to come together as a unit to stop this tower, but it's already through the final checkpoint. And you know this tower, it's smooth like butter. And there it goes, folks, right in to that final checkpoint. The Boilermaker Special is able to take the set in a clean 4-0, not dropping a game in this set.
Yeah, and really, the only time they dropped the lead was at the very beginning of this game, with the Neo Comet Blasters getting to that first checkpoint and, you know, unfortunately for them, not able to push it up. So Boilermaker Special looking very dominant so far this season as well, too, getting that win. And, I mean, anytime you get a 4-0 win over any team, that is very impressive, regardless of who you play.
Right, but I think credit where credit is due. The Comet Blasters, again, they are in Div 1 for a reason, Falco. From their experience in the season prior to now, they have grown exponentially and have demonstrated a lot of skill and growth and improvement in the CCA League. And they were able to hold their own against a very dominant Boilermaker Special team, which has not dropped a single game in this entire season except for one that was resulted from a DC. So yeah, I mean, I think this is something that the Neo Comet Blasters can take away from, I think.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, when you're put in Div 1 of any league you're in too, like you are a part of the top crew. Even if you don't get the set wins, the game wins that you're hoping for, you know you're getting good practice in too. Again, it's not about winning every single game, it's about growing as a team and trying to explore and really just get better at the game. But like we saw in the previous set, we are going to be doing a play all 7 as a part of this gentleman's agreement that you touched on earlier, this kind of being a CCA tradition. So we'll be moving on to a game 5 with Clan Blitz on Museum d'Alfonsino.
Now this one's going to be really exciting for both teams because both backlines are going to be very effective here. You mentioned in the first match of our doubleheader, the backlines have complete and total control of the entire map. They're able to put their sight lines wherever they need to. So the Neo Comet Blasters potentially bringing out that X-Flow, I think is going to be very crucial. And of course, Barry on that charger, playing Spoilermaker for the Boilermakers. I mean, this is going to be a very fun match ahead.
Yeah, yeah, and I also like the Clash Blaster pick there from Spam too, just to kind of add something a little different. So it's yeah, that's why I like these extra bonus games as you have it on CCA.
Right. I mean, now this is the chance for the teams to experiment a little bit and kind of get a little bit out of their comfort zones, out of their shells in a way. The Clash Blaster pick being a fun one. Now, actually, I commented on a potential X-Blow on the side of the Comet Blasters, but they're running more a much more aggressive kind of style instead, neglecting a definitive backline. And oh man, Falco, we already see Barry here right on top of the mid spinner, already trying to get some picks onto the Comet Blasters on their own spinner. This is a very precarious situation.
Yeah, you get a charger in that situation in mid, it's going to be hard to avoid them, and especially when the rest of the team has 2 power claims ready and a bubble and a triple ink strike to try and support. But actually, a few players from Boilermaker Special, they are going to go down, so they aren't going to get that push that they hoped for, as Neo Comet Blaster is able to cap a little bit more of mid and gain some control, getting some splats. So if I'm Neo Comet Blasters, I count that as a win for being able to defend a push like that.
Agreed. That mid-fight situation and stopping it from getting any worse than it already could possibly be is very effective here. However, right as I say that though, we already see Astrom on the Dapples putting a lot of pressure on the spinner here, almost getting the trade on the Blaster, but being supported by the Blob, they were able to completely halt Astra's attempts at getting a couple of picks.
Yeah, and so Neo Comet Blast is still hanging in there. Typically at this point, Boilermaker Special would be pushing the objective pretty far, and it looks like now they are going to be trying to bring some more claims towards this basket, using a bubble as well for support, getting 2 power claims in, getting down to 60. So now this is going to be real rough for Neo Comet Blasters as they only have their Clash Shoes alive. Blob now jumping back in, but Boilermaker Special getting these claims. Look at this push, Mizuno.
I mean, you already see Astrom coming with some more clams with those beacons, already down to 19 points, but finally looks like some of the Boilermaker Special players have been chased away from the basket as it comes to a close. Falco 19 points as we're halfway into the game. That is very tough to come back from, giving the set history that we have seen already in the previous Clan Blitz match.
Yeah, and especially how well Boilermaker Special have been able to keep up with this map control too. It's not like they backed out immediately and went back to their spawn. No, they've been keeping this pressure up. They haven't left Neo Comet Blaster's side since the start of this push. So we see the Slosher here trying to push up towards the basket, getting some picks, trying to throw some bombs as well. And 1 power claim at the ready for Boilermaker Special, pushing over top on this right side as well. So that's going to be another score, but you're going to need 2 power claims in if you want to get through these penalty points, which it looks like they do. And now they just need 5 more claims if they want to get this win. Unfortunately, no players are really in a position to do so, but as long as you keep this pressure up, you're gonna keep up the momentum and get this win.
I have to give credit to Yum on the Slosher for the Boilermaker Special, just making a crucial pinch on the Neo Comet Blasters and allowing that push to happen in the first place with that tri-strike and that just sloshing pressure. Again, the pressure that we keep talking about here. The Boilermaker Special, they're not letting up whatsoever. They are keeping this very aggressive pacing, and it is paying them dividends right now because the Neo Comet Blasters have yet to even touch the basket.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have players as dominant as you have on Boilermaker Special, especially with the help of the Junior now to be able to paint, this is, you know, a decent sized map. So as long as you can run around and touch up on every area and give your team real estate, that's going to make it much easier. But now Neo Comet Blaster is able to get some more map control. They don't have a power claim just yet, trying to get these picks winning 1v1s. So able to get a little more map control again. But you got to get in a position where you want to score a power claim too. But at this point, it's going to be tricky.
Right, the Comet Blaster's Blob player there was actually doing a really effective job of actually holding back 2 members of the Boilermaker Special, getting 2 picks, but their teammates are unable to follow through to secure any more ground afterwards. With 15 seconds left on the clock, the clam economy needs to be the Comet Blaster's main objective right now. They only have Pity sitting right by their basket, but they have yet to even grab it right now. The clock has tucked down to 0, and we are in overtime right now. And they have to take the ball all the way to the other side of the map because they haven't even picked it up yet.
And I mean, it's going to be very hard with how Boilermaker Special's pushing. They have control of mid, so Neo Comet Blasters, they're not going to get there in time, unfortunately, with the clock running out or with Boilermaker Special scoring their own too. So it's just such a tricky position to be in again. You know, if you're Neo Comet Blasters, you don't even want to worry about Boilermaker Special making a push because you got to get that map control. If you're not going to get control mid, you're not going to push it forward. So just such an uphill battle for them.
I absolutely agree with you. And to your observation there about getting that mid control during overtime, I think they actually neglected Pity on purpose for the sake of why would you bother to double back all the way over to your basket to grab Pity when you need all 4 of your players at that moment moving forward and trying to get back all the paint that you had lost in those pushes. So again, it's a very precarious, difficult situation to be in when you're in that overtime moment. And again, I think the Boilermaker Special, their execution, their skill levels and understanding of the game and pacing is just on another level right now.
Yeah, it is, but again, it's all a part of the practice. And you know, Neo Comet Blasters, they didn't get knocked out of the game, so they were able to keep up some of the pressure. Now, Claim Blitz is hard because if you have a dominant push, it's just going to be so hard to respond from. So that was also something Neo Comet Blasters had to deal with. But they seemed to play well. Like they were able to paint a little bit more with some of their weapon choices than they had in previous games, and able to extend this much more. So we'll be moving on to game 5 here, or I believe this will be game 6. Rainmaker
yes, game 6.
on game 6. Rainmaker Inkblot Art Academy as a part of our extended coverage.
Right, and I think this one is going to be very difficult for the Neo Comet Blasters to navigate through. They did like you remarked just now, they did a much better job with that paint control in this Clan Blitz match, and I think in order to succeed on this one, paint is going to have to be the name of the game here, because if they give any of that up, the Boilermaker Specials, they just activate like a switch and they will propel forward and take whatever that they could. So I think right now the Comet Blasters, if they want to make use of this game right here and try to get some points on the board, I think they're going to have to really utilize some of their painting coverage and their painting weapons.
Yeah, and what makes it hard too is this is a map and mode that both of these teams obviously very familiar with in Splatoon 2. So it's not like one team really has a heavy advantage over the other with that regards. It just simply kind of comes down to play style. So we do see the rapid, we do see the rapid pro, or the range blaster, I believe. Keep getting all these weapons, the blasters mixed up.
It's the icons. It's the icons.
It is the icons. Yeah. We see that one coming out too. We see the roller on the side of Boilermaker Special, keeping the junior, keeping the. Oh, we do see. Yeah. Now we see Dapples on both sides, so I like that choice too.
I was going to say, too, you point out the Flings roll on the side of the Boilermaker Special. That is actually Barry wielding the Flings roller this time around. Excuse me, I can't with my words at this moment. We do see the Boilermaker Special pick up the Rainmaker first, as they have the most control in mid at this point. But the Rainmaker is looking to kind of shuffle along here. There is a little bit too much orange paint to navigate through at this moment.
Yeah, they're going to have to get some tricky footwork to keep this Rainmaker alive, and they are able to do it. Getting up here on this left stack, you're going to get some more height, able to spot some of the players on Neo Comet Blasters. This podium is looking clear, but you have this Booyah Bomb just waiting, which is preventing the Boilermaker Special. It's a game of chicken at that point, and maybe you just got to wait for the Booyah Bomb to be thrown first. So, yeah, I mean, Barry's been holding on to this Rainmaker for quite some time. Still trying to get to that checkpoint, so Neo Comet Blasters not really letting go of this pressure and just guarding this podium.
No, but I have to say, right as you say that finally the Rainmaker goes down. The Comet Blasters were actually able to make really good use of that Booyah and kind of take a moment to basically stiff arm the Boilermaker Special from proceeding any further and allow their teammates to come back in. Those crucial seconds matter when your teammates are respawning. However, I think that's all for naught at this point, as the Boilermaker Special is back at it already with the Rainmaker at hand and 2 down. 2 members down, make that 3 members down on the side of the Neo Comet Blasters.
The support of the Boilermaker team from the Rainmaker, or the players who aren't the Rainmaker, is incredible right now. That allows your Rainmaker to just be so patient and not push up until they're absolutely ready to do so. When you have weapons that can kind of get those picks in tricky places, you can flank with the Dapples, the Explosher sloshing machine, you can just kind of get players behind ledges. Blob can have some funky movements too. So, yeah, it's just going to be hard as Neo Comet Blaster is able to prevent this knockout for now. Looks like they might be trying to pick it up as well as they take down Astrum. So this could be the game-saving pop and able to extend it a little bit longer. So once again, Neo Comet Blaster is going to be trying to get some of these picks and take control of mid.
They have finally, and right as I say that, I was about to say they've finally driven out all of those Boilermaker Special players, but I think they have missed some of the beacons there. So you see Astrum causing a little bit more trouble, but finally driven away. The Comet Blasters have regained some of the ground that they have lost. The Rain Cloud popping off and taking a little bit more paint that they so desperately need right now. But they're still stuck in their plat. There is not a lot of room to work with, and you see the Rapid going down just now. Man, the Comet Blasters, they have a lot of work to do to even potentially get back into mid.
Yeah, I don't even know at this point which player you start with, because every player on the Boilermaker Special team has just been so flexible with their play style and so well coordinated, kind of spread around the map, guarding all edges and all sides. So you just have to take out any member that you can. Again, winning 1v1s is much easier said than done. So it's you just got to rely on your teammates to assist you with that. Speaking of assisting, we have some specials coming out on Neo Comet Blaster side as they have more control of mid, but no players of the Boilermaker Special are going down, especially because 3 members from Neo Comet Blaster is going down. So Boilermaker Special picking the Rainmaker up once again as we have less than 1 minute left.
I was going to say, the Comet Blasters were trying to take advantage of that Tri-Strike special to move back in. However, it looks like it didn't quite work, and the staggered spawns allowed the Boilermaker Special the opportunity to take this Rainmaker back up into their enemy plat. Again, the Comet Blasters on the back foot right now, huddling basically by that podium on their final stand. But the pressure that the Boilermaker Special is exerting right now is just too great. I mean, you see the Flames already coming up the ramp here, and there is a wipeout yet again on the side of Neo Comet Blasters.
Yeah, this should be the game here, especially because Boilermaker Special had some players who were pushed up so far towards the podium. So it took a little while for Boilermaker Special to finally get that dunk after their initial push to 2. Neo Comet Blasters had an opportunity where they had a little bit control of mid, but once they had control of mid, they couldn't win their 1v1s, and ultimately that's what led to the Boilermaker Special comeback or push back to the podium to get them that win. So they're going to be winning this game 6.
On your point about 1v1s, I think at this point, the Comet Blasters might, in order to drive away those Boilermaker Special players, I think they need to prioritize their teamwork and coordination a lot. I mean, there was great efforts in prior games where you saw them working together to take 2v1 situations and pinch the Boilermaker Special players at really inopportune moments. And those are the plays that allowed the Comet Blasters to gain more control, gain more ground, or potentially, you know, take the Rainmaker or take the tower. And I think for this last game, I think it'll be really important for them to prioritize that, because those are the fights that you could truly win instead of taking 1v1s where you could be potentially outmatched.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you need to do in that situation. And knowing that they only have one more opportunity to do it, again, never too late to try anything different as we move on to the last game, Splat Zone's Eotila Alley. So nothing is lost here, as Neo Comet Blasters will have one more opportunity to get a win against Boilermaker Special. As you see, Boilermaker Special readied up pretty quickly. Neo Comet Blasters, maybe they'll completely switch things up. Who knows? But again, you can't really make a wrong decision here, as you're still trying to prepare against a team as dominant as Boilermaker Special.
Right, and on a map that, as an audience, we have not seen yet, Splat Zone's Tail Alley, this is such a very complex and dynamic map in this community. With the zone being so large, it was so many obstacles in the way of the zone. You could see a lot of shenanigans here, and I'm very curious on how these teams are actually going to kind of react to this, on top of also understanding the player dynamics.
That is right. So again, this will be the last game between these two teams, and I believe, yeah, they're going to actually have a sub. I'm not sure which team's going to have a sub, but we are going to get a player in here, have a player swap, so we can have them get an opportunity to play tonight. So Neo Comet Blasters, they will be the team who's subbing, and yeah, I don't know if those comps that we saw will really mean anything, or if Boilermaker Special will keep the same weapons that we saw. So we'll stay tuned while we wait for the sub.
Right. All that speculating the first 90 seconds as they're ready, all for naught. Terrible. But I mean, I think even with the substitution coming in, I think that still won't change at least the Boilermakers specials. I think they're pretty comfortable with what they're running already from what we've seen in these games. However, for the Comet Blasters, I think right as the game started, I think I saw a blob. And I'm hoping again that in addition to prioritizing 2v1s, I'm hoping that the Comet Blasters will try to take advantage of paint here, because again, this map is so large and the zone is so big with so many obstacles in the way that fighting for zone is going to be pretty much the name of the game at this point.
Yeah, it is. And when you have a new player, you have a new player who maybe has a new weapon up their pocket, which means you might want to adjust some of the things that you're playing too. So things can drastically change when you do have a sub. But let's see what these teams end up going.
Game 7 of our gentlemen's matchup here. We see Barry back on the E leader. We see Noob on the Rapid Blaster on the side of the Neo Comet Blasters, and then Explo and Blob. I really like this composition on the side of Comet Blasters because of that lobbing pressure that the Explo and the sloshing machine and the Blob are able to exert on these high perched up areas.
Yeah, and two pretty painty weapons. We were talking about how Neo Comet Blasters needed to have some paint. They're going to have an end zap and the, I believe, oh, you said it was the blaster. I thought that was a splatter shot at first. I was getting,
it's the Rapid. It's the Rapid.
The Rapid, okay, perfect. So yeah, the end zap will be the one who's painting for them. But speaking of painting, Boilermaker Special doing the painting on the side, or on this game, as they're able to quickly control mid. Using the bubble and using the wave breaker as well. Neo Comet Blasters now not having a lot of paint to work with in this 3v3, taking the high ground to try and get some picks, but once again, you got to avoid the E leader from Boilermaker Special.
Right, I mean, with 30 points already left, the tactical are being popped alone on the zone. The Comet Blasters, I think, failed early on to play that neutral game, and this is coming in to punish them as the zone is not even painted halfway through. The timer is winding down quickly, and just like that, in 100-0, the Boilermaker Special takes the 7th game of this friendly set.
Yeah, it's hard too when you don't even take the objective once. In a mode like Splat Zones at will kind of spiral like we saw on the Mahi stage earlier. This is the exact same scenario that we saw. So typically the teams that are maybe more coordinated together, they're going to thrive, especially on a mode like Splat Zones. So Boilermaker Special, like you said, first of all, winning the set 4-0, then winning the rest of the set too, getting all those wins, very impressive, and ending their season completely undefeated.
You're exactly right. Again, just as I mentioned earlier, the Boilermaker Special, they only lost one game in the entire regular season, that being to an unfortunate DC, which again, I think that just comes to demonstrate the sheer dominance that this pickup has. And again, they have clutched the #1 seed in Division 1 Group A. And for that, also the Comet Blasters taking their fourth loss of the season. They do have one more match in the regular season before things come to a close. But regardless, again, the Neo Comet Blasters put on one heck of a show here for us tonight. And again, their improvement from the past season to now and their play styles against the Boilermaker special, I think was still an impressive feat to show off here.
Yeah, and of course that's why we play this game too. You know, it's we play to improve, and like you said, kind of the improvement from season one for Neo Comet Blasters. That's what they want to work for. So again, nothing is lost by getting 4-0'd from that set. So they are still hanging in there, and just got a lot of good practice in as well.
Absolutely. Now, that being said, folks, this concludes our double header for week 5 of the regular season of the CCA League Season 2. Falco Flyer, again, thank you so much for joining us and coming on as our guest commentator. Could you maybe share where the folks can find you and maybe some of the projects that you're involved in this community?
Sure, yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Bazuno and DRF, you guys are super wonderful for helping support CCA and putting on a show for all of us Splatoon enjoyers. But you can find me Falco Flyer on Twitch at Falco Flyer and Falco Flyer 11 on Twitter. And I do a lot of commentary, so you can occasionally see me on IPL streams, LSL streams, kind of doing all that fun stuff. So thank you so much, Mizuno.
Thank you, Falco. Now, folks, in the season, we do have one reschedule week left over, so you might be able to catch another stream later this week. So be sure to stay tuned at the CCA Twitter account, CCA underscore Splatoon, for more details. That being said, thank you all for joining us on our CCA doubleheader, and we hope to see you all at a future CCA showing. Thank you, folks.